stars were cold, stretching into an endless, silent darkness. Drifting through this vast emptiness was a small human ship, its destination a forgotten world named Erevos 9. From the outside, it was a planet of dust, dead cities, and deep shadows. Captain Elena Ward stood at the viewing glass, her gaze fixed on the desolate sphere growing larger with every passing second. Behind her, the crew was silent. They'd seen their share of strange worlds, but this one was different. It felt ancient, far older than anything built by human hands. Scanners confirmed the planet's lifeless state. No air, no movement, no sound. Yet a faint energy signature pulsed from the ruins below, a stubborn heartbeat refusing to die. Elena's voice finally cut through the tense silence. "Team, prepare for landing. We go in full suits. No mistakes. If this place really holds alien ruins, then history is waiting for us." A series of firm nods answered her. The 5 of them, engineers, scientists, and soldiers, were the best, trained to face the unknown. But even the bravest felt a shiver crawl down their spine. It was an unsettling feeling, as if the planet itself was watching them arrive. The ship sliced through the thin atmosphere, its engines glowing a fierce red against the gloomy gray clouds. Below, colossal towers of black stone clawed at the sky, like the skeletal remains of giants. The cities were broken and silent, yet they stood defiant as if time itself had surrendered its fight to destroy them. The landing was soft, but the ground vibrated, a low echo traveling up through the soles of their boots. The air was thin and dry, the sky a sickly pale orange. Elena's voice crackled through their helmets. "Keep your scanners on. Watch for any structural movement or energy spikes." The team moved cautiously between the fallen towers. Strange symbols covered the walls, emitting a faint, ethereal glow wherever their helmet lights touched them. The symbols seemed to writhe and twist, almost forming familiar words before dissolving back into alien script. Dr. Lee, the team's lead xenolinguist, whispered, his voice tight with awe. "Captain, these markings, they're reacting to us." Elena turned. "You mean to our lights?" "No," he replied, his voice barely audible. "To us, to our presence." Suddenly, the air grew frigid. Their scanner displays flickered wildly, numbers flashing too quickly to comprehend. In the center of a vast open square, a structure that resembled a temple loomed, half buried in dust but still humming with a faint internal light. As they stepped inside, a collective gasp echoed in their comms. The walls were covered in intricate carvings depicting tall beings with radiant eyes, standing beside figures that were unmistakably human. Dr. Lee's voice trembled. "Captain, these carvings, they look like us." Elena shook her head, her mind racing. "That's impossible. This world is thousands of light years from Earth. No human has ever been here." At the heart of the chamber, a silver crystal sphere rested on a raised platform. It was perfectly smooth, glowing as if it contained a galaxy within, its light pulsing with a slow, calm rhythm, like a sleeping heart. Elena felt her own heartbeat beginning to sync with it. "Record everything," she commanded. "We take nothing until we understand what this is." But as she took a step closer, the sphere's light intensified. The air began to hum, a deep, resonant frequency that vibrated in their chests. A faint, broken whisper slithered from the sphere. "Waited long for you." Everyone froze. The voice came again, clearer this time, soft yet chillingly cold. "We waited. You came." The ground began to tremble violently. Dust rained from the ceiling as the carvings on the walls blazed to life one by one, illuminating the entire chamber. Buried machines whirred and groaned, ancient engines sputtering awake after millennia of slumber. "Back to the ship, now!" Elena yelled. But it was too late. The entrance slammed shut as metal walls shifted, locking them inside. The sphere floated into the air, its light blinding. The voice, now powerful and resonant, filled the hall. "The cycle ends, the new begins." A blinding blast of energy threw them from their feet, their suit alarms screaming. When the light finally faded, The room was eerily calm. Elena pushed herself up, her muscles aching. The sphere hovered before her, once again motionless. Tentatively, she raised a hand. The sphere mirrored her movement. "Who are you?" she whispered. The sphere pulsed once. A single word echoed not in the air but directly inside her mind. "You." Ice flooded her veins. She felt something new in her consciousness, a memory that was not her own. Images flashed behind her eyes. Alien cities shimmering under twin suns, ships the size of continents, and beings of pure light battling a vast, consuming darkness. And then, as quickly as it started, it was over. The sphere dropped to the ground, its light extinguished, becoming a dull, lifeless stone. The exit reopened. The machines fell silent. No one spoke. Finally, Dr. Lee broke the silence. "Captain, what just happened?" Elena stared at the sphere, sensing it wasn't dead but merely waiting. "This wasn't a tomb," she said, her voice low and changed. "It was a door." As the team walked back to their ship, their lights cutting through the dust, the sphere began to glow faintly once more, watching them leave. High above Awakens 9, strange lights blinked into existence, signals spreading through the void, reaching for distant stars. Something had awakened, something that remembered humanity long before humanity existed. As their ship ascended into the black, Captain Elena Ward didn't look back, but she knew, with a certainty that chilled her to the bone, that the stars were now looking at her. The vast emptiness of space is never truly silent. Even in the deepest black, old things whisper. After the momentous discovery on Awakens 9, Captain Elena Ward and her crew returned to Earth as heroes. The world celebrated them for a singular reason. They had found definitive proof that humanity was not alone. But Elena couldn't celebrate. She couldn't sleep. Every night she dreamed of the alien sphere. In her dreams it glowed brighter and brighter, and a voice echoed in her mind, the same one she heard on that desolate moon. "You came, but you are not ready." Weeks turned into months. The sphere was locked away, deep inside Lunar Research Base Sigma, under the heaviest guard imaginable. Earth's brightest minds threw everything they had at it. Lasers, scanners, quantum probes, but the object remained inert, silent as a sleeping god. Until one night. It began at precisely 2:17 a.m. All communication satellites orbiting Earth flickered for exactly 7 seconds. Every signal, from top-secret military channels to civilian broadcasts and even deep space telescopes, displayed the same cryptic symbol, a glowing circle woven from pure light. It was the same mark carved into the ruins of Awakens 9. At that exact moment on the moon, the sphere began to sing. It wasn't a human song or a machine tone. It was a low, rhythmic hum that vibrated through metal and bone alike. Inside Base Sigma, alarms blared. Scientists scrambled to the containment chamber, but it was too late. The guards posted outside had already collapsed, eyes wide open, staring blankly at the sphere. The base commander, in a panic, tried to contact Earth, but the line was drowned in static. Then, a voice cut through the noise. It was Elena's voice. "Do not be afraid. The key remembers the hand." But Elena was on Earth, asleep in her apartment. The transmission log was impossible. It showed her voice pattern, her ID, her unique speech rhythm, but its origin point was deep beneath the lunar surface. The next morning, Elena woke to a single, urgent message. She was ordered back to Base Sigma immediately. As her shuttle descended toward the moon, she saw it. Strange lights were spreading across the lunar surface, glowing lines forming vast geometric patterns. Circles, triangles, spirals, all converging on the research base. The scientists greeted her with pale, frightened faces. "Captain Ward," one of them stammered. "The sphere, it's responding to you. It only activates when your name is spoken. We tried others. Nothing." They led her to the containment chamber. The air was frigid. The sphere was no longer resting on its platform. It floated, spinning slowly, lines of brilliant light dancing across its surface like veins. As Elena stepped closer, the hum deepened into a resonant tone. Her vision blurred. She was slammed with flashes of incomprehensible images, stars, broken worlds, ancient cities burning under alien suns. Then a voice filled the room, clear and powerful. "The inheritors have awakened." Everyone froze. The voice was deep, echoing, ancient. The time of silence ends. The signal must reach the others. Elena, her heart pounding, stepped back. What others? The lost seeds, the hidden children, the guardians who forgot. The sphere pulsed once, and every screen in the base flickered to life, displaying star maps. 6 worlds, scattered across the galaxy, glowed with a pulsing red light, like distant heartbeats. "These are the remaining vaults," the voice declared, "the fragments of our kind. You must wake them, or all light will fade." Suddenly, the power died. The room plunged into darkness, lit only by the sphere's soft blue glow, like the last breath of a dying star. Elena instinctively reached out. "Why us? Why humans?" The voice was quiet for a long, heavy moment. Then it answered, "Because we made you." The words hit the room like a physical blow. The air felt thick, unbreathable. Dr. Lee whispered, his body trembling. "They created us?" The sphere pulsed again, faster this time, almost desperate. Not created, chosen. The final pattern, the last chance. Then, in a final, blinding burst of light, it stopped. The sphere dropped to the floor with a dull thud and went dark. For a moment, no one breathed. Elena, regaining her composure, whispered, "Record everything. Secure this chamber." But when they reviewed the security footage, they discovered something impossible. The video showed the scientists, the sphere, the room, everything. But Elena was gone. She was completely absent from the recording. Back on Earth, the strangeness spread. Radio towers began picking up faint ghostly whispers. Children started drawing glowing circles in their sleep. A deep-sea probe discovered a massive metal structure on the ocean floor, shaped exactly like the ruins on Erebos 9. And all across the solar system, forgotten satellites, relics from old wars, suddenly reactivated, beaming one message over and over into the void. "Rise, inheritors." Governments panicked. News channels fueled the chaos. Religious leaders called it a divine sign, while scientists desperately tried to debunk it as a hoax. But Elena knew better. She stood alone on her ship's observation deck, staring down at the swirling blue and white of Earth. She could feel the sphere's glow, not as a memory, but as a faint shimmer inside her mind. The voice echoed again. "You came, but you are not ready." She finally understood. The sphere had never stopped talking. It was still speaking, inside her thoughts, feeding her fragments of memories that were not hers. Memories of a galaxy once teeming with life, now a graveyard, a great ancient war, and a solemn promise that one day something human would rise to continue the fight. Elena looked up, past her reflection, toward the endless sea of stars. Something was coming, and humanity was standing on the precipice of a story far, far older than Earth itself. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the unknown. The world of Cryosphore was a frozen ghost, floating silently in the endless dark. Its surface, a shield of ice so thick that sunlight had never touched the stone beneath. But under that eternal frost, something ancient waited, sleeping for millions of years. Captain Elena Ward stood on the bridge of her ship, the horizon dawn, the silence of her crew heavy in the air. Behind her, the mysterious sphere from Erebos 9 floated inside its containment chamber, pulsing with a faint rhythmic glow, like a slow heartbeat. No one joked anymore, not since the last incident. They all felt it, this strange pull, guiding them from one dead world to another, following the coordinates the sphere had revealed. This was the second system on its map. But unlike the ruins of Erebos 9, there were no cities here, no signs of life, just a planet entombed in ice. Elena ordered a drone drop. It drilled deep, taking samples from miles below the frozen surface. What it found changed everything. The scanners picked up metal, massive, complex structures shaped like ships, or maybe something else, something that felt alive. The sphere began to hum again, its light intensifying. Then a voice filled the bridge. It was soft, eerily calm, and unsettlingly familiar. "This vault holds the guardians of the last flame. Approach with the sign." Dr. Lee turned, his face pale. "Captain, it's speaking to you again." Elena took a deep, steadying breath and nodded to her helmsman. "Prepare for landing." The Horizon Dawn descended through clouds of shimmering ice dust. Its landing thrusters carved a deep crater in the untouched snow, melting ice that hadn't felt warmth in eons. The team stepped out, their boots sinking into a surface that hadn't seen a single footprint since time began. They followed the scanner's signal, their heavy drills cutting through the ice. Hours passed. Then a hollow sound echoed from below. Metal. The team worked furiously, clearing the surface to reveal a massive circular gate. A wave of impossibly warm air flowed out. Inside, the walls glowed with a soft, golden light. The air itself seemed to shimmer with energy. Frozen shapes lined a vast corridor, standing tall and silent like sentinels, covered in gleaming armor that had not tarnished with age. They weren't statues. They were machines, humanoid, yet distinctly alien. Their faces were smooth and featureless, their hands shaped like powerful tools, their eyes closed as if in a deep mechanical dream. Dr. Lee whispered, his voice trembling with awe. "They look like soldiers." As the team cautiously walked between the silent figures, the sphere's glow grew stronger. It floated forward on its own, hovering before the largest machine at the far end of the hall. One by one, the machine's eyes began to open, glowing with an inner light. A low, rising tone filled the chamber, a sound so powerful it made the very ice outside tremble. The largest machine stepped forward, its movements impossibly smooth and graceful. It knelt before Elena. A deep, metallic voice echoed through the hall. "Command unit recognized. Human genetic pattern. Confirmed. Welcome, Commander of the New Dawn." The team froze, weapons half raised. Elena's hands shook. I'm not your commander." "You are," the machine replied, its voice absolute. "The creators built you from their image. You are their continuation. Their purpose now lives in you." Another machine spoke, its voice softer, almost human. "The war has not ended. The darkness still stirs. You must awaken the others." The crew exchanged terrified glances. "What war?" Elena demanded. "The Great Consumption," the first machine said. "The enemy that devours light itself. We've failed to stop it. You were made to finish what we began." Elena took a step back, her mind reeling. "Made? You mean humans?" The machine nodded. "Yes, the final seed of our kind. Hidden across the galaxy, evolved, forgotten, but never lost." The words hung in the air, heavy with the weight of a forgotten history. The sphere floated upward, its light now blinding. 6 vaults remain, it said in that same ancient, commanding voice. Each holds knowledge. Each holds power. Together they form the key, the memory of a fallen empire. Suddenly the ground began to shake violently. The ice above them cracked and the walls groaned under immense pressure. The machines raised their heads in unison, weapons forming from their very arms. "The signal was detected," one of them said, its voice grim. "They are coming." "Who?" Elena shouted over the noise. "The Star Eaters. They sense the awakening." Before anyone could react, the ceiling burst open. A beam of pure black light cut through the air, melting ice and metal alike with terrifying ease. The crew scrambled for the exit. One of the ancient machines moved to shield them, taking the full force of the blast. Its armor cracked, but its stance remained unbroken. "Go!" it roared, its voice booming through the chaos. "Protect the Inheritor." Elena turned back just once, just long enough to see the massive figure collapse, consumed by the silent black light. They raced to the surface as the ship lifted off, the entire glacier exploding behind them in a cataclysm of fire and ice. From the safety of orbit, the frozen world looked like it was bleeding fire into the void. Inside the ship, Elena stared out the viewport, her breathing heavy. The sphere floated beside her, its light now a soft, faint pulse. "They died, protecting us," she whispered. The sphere replied softly, its voice now gentle. "They died protecting the future." Elena looked at the endless stars ahead. She finally understood. What they had found wasn't a discovery. It was a call to arms. The ruins weren't just history. They were warnings. And somewhere out there, in the cold, silent dark between the stars, something ancient and terrible had just noticed humanity's light flicker back to life. And ring the bell so you don't miss the next chapter of this cosmic adventure. See you next time. The world was never the same after we found them. The alien machines sleeping under the ice of Krios 4. The media called it the Second Dawn, a new age for humanity. But behind the parades and celebrations, a different feeling was taking root. Fear. Deep in secret bunkers, the United Earth Council argued, what should we do with this incredible, terrifying technology? Some wanted to study it, others wanted to destroy it, and a powerful few, they wanted to use it. I watched it all unfold from a gilded cage. Captain Elena Ward, confined to a base high in the Andes, a prisoner of my own heroics. The military had seized the alien machines from Krios, locking the strange sphere away under even tighter security. It was gone, but not forgotten. I could still feel it, a faint rhythmic pulse in the back of my mind, a ghost in my thoughts. "You must awaken the others," it had whispered to me. But how could I when my own people saw me as a threat? Meanwhile, a new kind of gold rush was happening. Deep beneath the moon's surface, scientists decoded the alien blueprints we'd recovered. They weren't just schematics. They were designs for weapons, for engines that could warp space, and for warships that could command gravity itself. The Council, drunk on this newfound power, greenlit a secret program, Project Helios. Their goal? To rebuild this alien arsenal under human control. But they weren't the only ones with plans. A shadow organization, calling themselves the Dominion, saw the aliens not as engineers, but as gods. And they believed it was humanity's destiny to take their place. They began a silent campaign of theft, smuggling alien tech from government labs to hidden bases on Mars and Europa, building their own army in the dark. Back on Earth, my quiet prison was shattered by a single, impossible message. It arrived on a private, encrypted channel, using a code I hadn't seen since my very first mission. The message was short, but it chilled me to the bone. "They are building weapons from the ruins. The darkness is returning. Trust no one. Dr. Lee." Dr. Lee? He was supposed to be dead. His ship had vanished near Jupiter 2 weeks ago. Before I could even process it, alarms screamed through the base. My comms had been traced. Security forces stormed my room. As they marched me down the sterile corridors, every monitor I passed flickered, showing a single glowing circle of light. The sphere. It was trying to reach me. Then one screen flared to life, showing my face, but altered, ancient. A voice only I could hear spoke, "The war has already begun. You must escape." In that instant, everything became clear. I moved on pure instinct. A quick strike, a sprint down the hall, the blare of alarms my only soundtrack. An emergency shuttle was docked just ahead. I leaped inside, sealed the hatch, and blasted off into the cold, starry expanse, Earth's fighters scrambling in my wake. 2 days later, I landed on an old mining station orbiting Saturn. And there he was, Dr. Lee, older, haunted, but alive. He showed me what he'd discovered. "The machines on Krios weren't soldiers, Elena," he said, his voice raspy. "They were guardians, left behind to stop something far worse. And the Dominion just woke it up." "The darkness you mentioned?" I asked. He nodded, his face grim. "They call it the Devourer. It feeds on stars. The original creators of this tech, they fought it once, and they lost. Now, it's coming for us." He brought up a screen showing strange energy waves moving through deep space, a predator closing in on our solar system. "Every time we activate one of their vaults," Lee explained, The devourer senses it. The more we use their technology, the faster it comes. My heart hammered against my ribs. Then why is the Council still building weapons? Because they're fools, he spat. They think they can control it. They don't understand this tech was never about power. It was about survival. Just then, the station's lights flickered. A low hum filled the air, the same sound the sphere made. A message flashed on the console. The third vault has opened. My eyes went wide. Where? Lee whispered the answer, his voice trembling. Europa, right under the Dominion's main base. Before we could act, a beam of crimson light tore through the station's hull. Dominion ships, black and silent, materialized from the void. They'd found us. Explosions ripped through the corridors as we scrambled for the escape pods. Go, Lee shouted, pushing me toward one. You're the inheritor, Elena, not me. The sphere chose you. I'm not leaving you, I yelled back, but the station bucked violently, throwing me into the pod. The door hissed shut. Through the viewport, I saw Lee give me one last sad smile before the station disintegrated in a silent, blinding flash. Hours later, adrift among Saturn's rings, the tears finally came. But I didn't feel weak. I felt awake. The sphere's voice filled my mind, no longer a whisper, but a calm, powerful presence. The war was never about machines or power. It was about memory, about who would carry the light forward. I wiped my eyes and set a new course. Then we carry it, I whispered to the empty cockpit. Whatever it takes. My ship turned toward Europa, toward the third vault, toward the next truth. And somewhere, out in the endless night where stars used to be, something vast began to move. It had smelled our light. The hidden war had finally begun. Space burned above Jupiter. Continent-sized lightning storms rolled across its red surface, glowing like the breath of a sleeping god. But this time, something inside those clouds was waking up. The Dominion, a rogue human faction, had done the unthinkable. They had broken into the third vault, buried deep beneath Europa's frozen crust, and unleashed what was never meant to be touched. They called it Project Titan. To them, it was a weapon. To the rest of the galaxy, it was a mistake of cosmic proportions. Captain Elena Ward arrived too late. Her damaged ship drifted into Europa's orbit just as the first explosion lit up the icy moon. Her scanners screamed, blaring warnings. A massive structure was rising from the shattered surface, a circular machine hundreds of kilometers wide, glowing with an alien, world-ending energy. No, they actually did it, she whispered, her voice barely audible over the alarms. The machine unfolded like a flower made of pure light, releasing shockwaves that bent gravity itself. This wasn't a human weapon. It was one of the alien creator's ancient titans, a guardian built to protect the galaxy. But it didn't recognize its descendants. The titan turned its glowing, vacant eyes toward the nearest source of significant energy, Earth. And it began to move. On the other side of the solar system, chaos erupted. The United Earth Council scrambled every ship they had to intercept the behemoth, but their weapons were useless. Lasers vanished into its shields like sparks in a hurricane. The Dominion's leaders, now panicked, screamed that they could control it, but their commands were ignored. Their ships were crushed like insects against a windscreen. The Titan was awake, and it was judging all of humanity for the actions of a few. Inside her battered ship, Elena heard a familiar voice whisper from the psionic sphere in her mind. The Guardian tests the inheritors. It must know if they are worthy. Worthy of what? She shouted into the empty cockpit. The reply was chilling. Of survival. With grim determination, Elena set her course directly for the Titan. Her crew begged her to turn back. It was a suicide mission. If that thing reaches Earth, she said quietly, her voice steel, we all die anyway. Her ship pierced through Jupiter's violent storm clouds, the hull trembling from the intense radiation. Soon the Titan filled her entire viewport, its body a fusion of shining metal and drifting light, like a living mechanical planet. As she drew closer, her ship's systems went dead. Engines, lights, communications, everything blinked out. The Titan spoke. Its voice wasn't a sound but a vibration resonating deep inside her skull. Identify. Elena took a deep, steadying breath. Captain Elena Ward. Human. Explorer. The Titan's mental voice echoed back. Origin. Hybrid pattern detected. Unknown evolution. Purpose. Uncertain. We are not your enemies, she sent back, focusing all her will. We are your descendants. You made us. The Titan paused. Its colossal energy field flickered like a colossal heartbeat. Prove it. Without warning, a tractor beam pulled her ship into the Titan's core, down a tunnel of shimmering blue light. Inside, time and space twisted. She saw visions, alien battles, burning worlds, a chorus of thousands of voices crying out as one, and then she was standing on a vast platform made of light, face to face with a holographic figure, a tall, elegant alien being of pure energy. You claim our legacy, it said, its voice a symphony of tones. Then show me what you have learned. A surge of light struck her chest. Memories that weren't hers flooded her mind. Eons of war, creation, and unbearable loss. She felt everything the creators once felt. Their terror of extinction, their desperate final hope that someone would rise after them. Her knees buckled and hit the luminous floor. We're not perfect, she gasped, her voice shaking. We make mistakes, we fight, we fall, but we keep going. We survive. The hologram regarded her in silence. And what will you do when the darkness comes again? Elena raised her head, her eyes filled with newfound resolve. We'll fight it. Together. For a long, silent moment, the universe seemed to hold its breath. Then the Titan's voice softened. You carry their light. The chamber filled with a gentle golden fire. The Titan's energy changed. It was now calm, alive, no longer hostile. It recognized her. It recognized humanity. Outside, Earth's fleets watched in stunned disbelief as the Titan halted its advance. The storms around Jupiter began to clear. Then, every ship, every station, received the same transmission, a single message in both alien and human code. The Guardians have returned. Humanity is recognized. Cheers erupted across control centers and starship bridges. But Elena knew this was just the beginning. Inside her ship, the psionic sphere glowed brighter than ever. The voice returned, quiet but urgent. You passed the test, but the shadow moves faster. The devourer is near. She gripped her controls. Then we have to stop it. Not stop, the voice corrected. Unite. The Titans will follow you. The other vaults must awaken. Only then can the final light rise. Elena stared out at Jupiter one last time. The Titan now orbited the gas giant peacefully, a sentinel watching over a sleeping child. She sent a single, clear message to Earth. The Titans are not our weapons. They are our teachers. If we turn them into tools of war, we'll suffer the same fate as those who made them. She looked at the starfield beyond her viewport, where deep in the dark something vast and hungry stirred. For the first time, she didn't feel fear. She felt purpose. We're not just inheritors, she whispered. We're the rebirth. The stars began to die. At first, it was just a faint blue sun way out on the edge of human space. It just went dark. No warning, no explosion. It simply vanished. Then another, and another. Astronomers were baffled. This wasn't supposed to happen. It was like something massive and unseen was literally eating the light from the universe. But from the bridge of her ship, the Horizon Dawn, Captain Elena Ward knew the horrifying truth. It's here, she whispered, her breath misting in the cold air. The devourer has awakened. She watched a wave of absolute blackness spread through the void. It was a storm made of gravity and death, a silent, creeping void that consumed everything. The ancient enemy that had destroyed the alien creators, the beings who left us their technology, had finally found humanity. And then, a response. The Titan orbiting Jupiter, now called Helion Prime, began to activate. Its colossal body started to glow, a small sun in the darkness, and it launched fleets of drones into space. Across the solar system, more Titans awoke. Near Saturn, Mars, the asteroid belt. They all answered the same silent call. Defend the inheritors. Earth plunged into its darkest hour. The United Council declared a global emergency. Every nation, every colony, every single ship was united under one command, the Horizon Alliance. For the first time in all of history, humanity stood as one. And Elena was placed in command of this joint fleet. Not because of her rank, but because the Titans trusted her. Their systems responded only to her voice. Their power cores resonated only with her DNA. Some called her the commander of the new dawn. Others whispered she was the voice of the ancients. Elena didn't care about titles. She only cared about survival. The first clash happened out near Neptune. The darkness arrived like a living shadow, a swarm of black, pulsating shapes that blotted out the stars. They looked like ships, but they weren't metal or machine. They were alive, throbbing with a sickening red light, and they fed on everything they touched. Our ships opened fire. Lasers, missiles, plasma. Nothing worked. Every shot just vanished into the dark. Then, Helion Prime arrived. The Titan's energy core flared brighter than a newborn star. It unleashed a beam of pure light that sliced through the darkness like a divine blade. The void creatures screamed. Not a sound, but a vibration that shook every ship in the fleet to its core. Their weakness is light, Elena realized. Pure energy, the opposite of what they are. She broadcast the command. All ships, sync with Helion Prime. Amplify photon output. Fire on my mark. The space around Neptune became a sea of brilliant light. For a moment, just a moment, the darkness retreated. But then, it adapted. The black swarm folded into itself, coalescing into something enormous, a shape the size of a moon, glowing with a crimson fire. A part of the devourer had revealed itself. And it spoke, a voice that made the very stars tremble. You are the children of thieves. You carry stolen fire. You will burn. Every ship's system crashed. The Titans faltered. The fleet began to break apart. Elena's ship shook violently. Consoles exploded around her. She fell to her knees, blood dripping from a cut across her face. Not yet, she whispered. We don't fall. Not now. The sphere inside her mind pulsed, brighter than ever. There is another way, it said. Tell me, she screamed into the chaos. The last vault, the heart of light. It lies beyond the Kuiper Belt. You must reach it before the devourer consumes the system. How? We're barely holding on. The Titans will hold the line. Go. Elena looked at the battlefield. Ships burning, Titans bleeding light. The darkness spreading like an unstoppable fire. She opened the channel to all fleets. This is Captain Ward. All remaining ships fall back and protect Helion Prime. Hold them. Buy us time. Humanity's future depends on it. Someone's voice crackled through the static. Captain? Where are you going? She looked straight ahead, her eyes filled with a fierce light. To finish what they started. Her ship turned toward the cold, silent dark of the outer solar system. Behind her, the Titans fought like gods reborn. One by one they fell, exploding in glorious waves of golden light that momentarily burned the darkness back. The last transmission she received was from Helion Prime itself. Go, Commander. We will remember. And then, silence. Days later, drifting past Pluto, her ship detected a faint glow. A sphere larger than a planet hidden inside a shell of frozen rock. The final vault. As she approached, the sphere in her mind pulsed in sync with her own heartbeat. You have come, the voice said softly. The light remembers you. Trembling, she whispered, Please, show me how to stop it. Not stop, the voice replied. Become. Her ship was pulled inside. A storm of pure light surrounded her. For the first time she saw them, the alien creators, as living memories. They smiled at her. You are what we dreamed of, they said in a chorus. The bridge between what was and what will be. Elena felt her body dissolve, her consciousness merging with the light. The sphere became one with her. Her voice became 1,000 voices, human and alien, all at once. Outside, at the edge of our solar system, the devourer opened its jaws, ready to swallow the sun. And then, from the void, a new light rose. It wasn't a titan. It wasn't a star. It was her. A wave of golden fire spread across space, the combined memory, power, and hope of two civilizations. The darkness screamed as it began to burn. The war was not over. But humanity was no longer alone. They had awakened the final light. Thanks for watching this epic tale. If you love stories that push the boundaries of imagination, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. We'll see you in the next one. Epic, sweeping orchestral music begins, filled with wonder and a sense of finality. The universe itself was set ablaze. The endless, star-swallowing darkness that had haunted humanity for centuries began to fracture, ripped apart by a tidal wave of pure, golden light. This wave, this dawn, was Elena Ward. She was no longer just human, no longer bound by flesh or bone, or the relentless march of time. She was something more, half ancient, half human, and now, fully, incandescently alive. From the war-torn surface of Earth to the swirling clouds of Jupiter, every eye turned to the heavens. They witnessed a sunrise brighter than any star, a sight that silenced a billion voices in a single, shared moment of awe. Satellites struggled to capture her form, a figure of pure light, her wings forged from raw energy, her very being glowing with the intensity of a newborn star. Her voice, calm and clear, resonated across every open communication channel, cutting through the static of a broken system. This is Elena Ward. The first to answer were the ancient titans. Helion Prime, its colossal frame broken and scarred from 1,000 battles, sparked back to life. Its core reignited, and as it began to rise from the void, its voice rumbled through space itself. Guardian of Light identified, command accepted. One by one across the entire solar system, the remaining titans awoke. Their energy fields surged, merging with Elena's light, a celestial alliance of forgotten gods and a newborn star. Human ships, battered but unbowed, joined them, metal and light, human and alien, side by side, forming a fleet the likes of which the galaxy had never conceived. The final battle was here. The devourer emerged from the deep void, a being larger than a planet, its form a roiling mass of living darkness. At its center, a crimson glow pulsed like a dying, malevolent heart. When it spoke, the stars themselves seemed to dim. You are made from what we destroyed. You are echoes pretending to live. Elena's voice was a steady flame against the encroaching night. Maybe, but even echoes can sing. Thousands of beams of pure concentrated energy lanced through the black, striking the creature's hide. The devourer screamed, a sound that shook the fabric of reality, but it absorbed the attacks, twisting their light into weapons of its own, and fired them back. Titans exploded in silent, brilliant novas. Inside the nexus of light that was now her mind, Elena felt the pain of millions, human and alien alike, crying out as one. "Hold the line," she commanded, her voice a beacon. "You are the light, every one of you." She pushed harder, her golden aura flaring, burning away the encroaching shadows. The sphere of ancient energy within her heart pulsed, faster and faster, until it shattered into 1,000,000 fragments of starlight. Each fragment shot across the fleet, entering a ship, a titan, a soldier. They felt her courage, her will, her undying hope. In that moment, they were one mind, one force, one purpose. "Now," she whispered, "we end this." Light and darkness collided. The devourer roared as its crimson core cracked open, revealing a void so absolute it seemed to swallow time itself. Elena knew what she had to do. She took one last look at Earth, the small blue world where her journey began. "If I fall," she whispered to the stars, "let this be our beginning, not our end." Then she flew straight into the heart of the abyss. The light consumed her. And then, a supernova of creation. A wave of blinding light washed across the stars, turning night into day on every human colony. When it faded, the devourer was gone. Its darkness burned into stardust and memory. Years passed. The Great War became legend. Children learned of the Lightborn captain who saved humanity and the silent titans who became their eternal guardians. Every dawn, a faint golden shimmer would grace the horizon, a whisper of a promise kept. Long after, explorers on Europa discovered the ruins of the first alien city. In its center stood a single monument, its inscription written in 2 languages, ancient and new. "We were not the first. We will not be the last." And carved beneath it by a hand unknown were 3 words that would echo through time. The New Dawn. As the explorers looked to the sky, a single streak of golden light crossed the stars, fading softly into the endless void. A comet, some said, but others knew. She was still out there, a guardian of the future she had forged. Thank you so much for watching this journey unfold. If you enjoyed this story, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more tales from across the universe. Until next time, keep looking up.